Askreddit thread. What thing does society say is unacceptable that shouldn't be? Saying no to a social invitation when your reason is that you just don't feel like going. Why do I always have to make up some ridiculous excuse? It's a slippery slope, though. If you actually want to maintain any friendships, I know once I said no a few too many times, they just stopped asking. See, this is why you don't just say no. Because if you say no all the time, they'll just stop asking you. So you have to just go, even if you don't feel like it a few times. Cancel it out. You can say no sometimes, but then go out of your way to make sure they know that you actually like them. You're not just trying to avoid them. Unless you are just trying to avoid them, just say no as much as you want, and they'll eventually stop asking too. I know for me, it is an amount of mental effort for me to try to get my friends out. And when you turn me down so many times in a row, I start to feel as if I'm wasting my effort. I don't feel like having friends is wasted effort. So I stop putting myself in that situation. I hate people who correct spelling. You get a downvote. Assisted suicide. If someone is old, senile, and clearly in pain, why is it more acceptable to drag out their living nightmare? When animals get to that point, it's completely fine to put them down, so why isn't it for humans? See, the issue with that is, how do you prove it was assisted suicide and not murder? Have something like notoriety that has to be approved, the sign-off, and the soon-to-be deceased on a legal document. How do we know that old person wasn't tricked and pressured into it? If they know the old person has lots of money for them in there, Wait. If they know the old person has a lot of money for them in there, okay, you just used them wrong there. There are people who would convince them to pass on early. Okay, so it's not that I'm just bad at reading. I mean, I am, but this is just really spelled really badly. Right after I said I hate people who correct spelling online. So he was just correcting friends, though. This is different. This is just grammatically incorrect. I can't even grab the context out of it unless I started reading it really closely. Or in prison. Why the fuck do they prevent inmates from getting assisted suicide? I can see not allowing ordinary suicide in prison, as I'm sure that people would be induced to suicide by sadistic guards or prisoners. But a well-regulated method of assisted suicide should be permitted. Because prison in America is about punishment, not rehabilitation. Discussing salaries with your coworkers. That taboo seems to only serve employers who want to screw people over. Oh, yeah. It's also about jealousy. And a lot of people aren't 100% honest about this. I don't even know what my best friend wages because he says something different every time. I don't talk to my friends or coworkers much about how much I make because all it ever does is cause problems. Do I make more than them? Great. Now they think I'm rich and should pay for stuff. Do I make less? Well, now I'm a charity case, and they keep asking if I'm really sure I'm okay with spending money when we go out. If anyone asks me what I make, I just answer with enough. I don't think that's a good argument towards it. It's illegal, though, for a company to say you can't. I get it, though. If you find out that you make less than your coworker, it can breed resentment, especially if you're in mind you are a better employee. There are plenty of reasons you may get more or less, but it's just never good. That's why I like being in sales. Everyone has the same base, and everything we make on top of it is on us. Except being in sales sucks. Teaching kids about proper sex education. Teach them about consent, about protection, how it's okay to like girls or boys or both. Don't just teach them that abstinence and drill into their heads that sex is unnatural and wrong, because then 20 years from now you'll be wanting grandkids from them. When done right, sex is healthy, enjoyable act of love, and blah, blah, blah. The amount of women, myself included, who have been on birth control while being ignorant about birth control is pathetic. I don't mean to absolve myself of responsibility for taking medication without bothering to properly educate myself on it. That was my own laziness, and thank God I didn't get knocked up in the process. But if you're going to bother teaching sexual education at all, then it should be taught with the intention of serving the student by preparing them for the realities of sex. Currently, it's a cocktail of misinformation, scare tactics, political ideology, and moral browbeating. I always think of the sex ed talk from Mean Girls, but I agree. I haven't seen Mean Girls in a while. Eating salami out of your hoodie on the bus. This poor young lady is having to eat salami under a coat. It's hard when some guy's legs get in the way, too. I bet you they're just playing Nintendo DS under there, or like reading a children's storybook under the covers with a flashlight. Flashlight, got it. Masturbation. A surgeon general was once fired because she advocated people be taught to do it correctly. Why do we shame/discourage people from jerking it? Most medical sciences agree it's perfectly healthy and can prevent diseases. Pretty good for mental health as well. Sometimes I wonder if r/nofap. If I wander into nofap and I'm dead serious, some of these guys want to kill themselves. r/nofap is a weird place, full of a bunch of really weird people. How do you teach people to masturbate correctly? Is there a wrong way? Well, you probably don't want to choke yourself while you do it. People over 30 play video games. I really like video games. It's great. Don't judge me because I prefer to do that over watching some new big hit show. It's not so much a stigma as it used to be, but a lot of people still view it as immature. Well, you see, back in the day, all video games were targeted towards children. That's why they're considered children's things. That's not the case today, but that used to be for years. Like all in the 70s and 80s and 90s, before they started making more adult games with Doom. Doom was the turning stone. Let's see, my wife gave me all hell about that. Then she got into those adult coloring books, so we're even. Weird thing is the average age of gamers is now like 30. Or at least it was in 2012. People who had a Nintendo or Sega system in their house as children are now 30-something, and while some moved away, many have kept at their hobby. Also, the 18 to 40 crowd is who games are designed for, especially M-rated games. But games are for kids. How dare there be games out there with adult content and themes? I don't want Billy to have to question his place in the world, what kind of person he wants to be. I just want him to shut up for a goddamn hour so I can have time to myself. Let's see. Silence. Nods. Donating organs upon death. It's not unacceptable, but people tend to steer away from donating their organs. I just don't understand it. There's apparently a fear that hospitals will be able to make more money from you dead than alive, so that they won't try as hard to save you. I asked a few people who I knew who are passionately against it. They pretty much said some form of that. Oh, I tear people like that down because I'm living example that's not true. I am a donor of organs as well in my body to science. I suffered an accident that was 95% sure to kill me. Family was brought to say goodbye. $2.5 million of surgery and care later I woke up without a left leg and very much alive. It got to the point that my organs were starting to shut down. I was going to die. I can't even tell you about my coma nightmares when I was trying to will myself dead in order to escape. Still alive. This happened in Florida of all places. Still alive. Donate your fucking organs. Reason number 9165910, that for-profit medical industry isn't working. I didn't know that was a stigma for organ donors or not. The only reason I'm not is because you have to opt into it, and it's not an entirely easy process. You have to like fill out a form and something. Fuck that noise. Not holding up your pride. Like, are you gonna take that? I couldn't give a shit what he said. I already forgot. What are you, yellow? This is something stupid people really care a lot about. Not being ambitious career-wise. That may be more of a North American thing, but the work hard, play hard mentality can be toxic for one's quality of life. The economy will keep on trucking even if people get more than a week or two of holidays. Oh, this is totally me. I had no ambitions career-wise. Luckily, I have a job that's awesome right now, but, I just kind of fell into it. Using a restroom at an establishment you are not purchasing anything from. Because that would entail everyone is a decent human being and not a hair-bringer of floor shitting. What thing does society say is unacceptable? Clearly, you've never had to clean public bathrooms. Yeah. You definitely charge your tune after the 5th shit you had to clean up off the floor / out of the urinal inside of a puddle of vomit inside the urinal. Hey, use my bathroom, not purchase anything? Come on, man. Oh, sorry. 1 gallon of gas, please. Sprays gas all over the customers walking in. Yeah, I worked at a customer service place. One of my jobs was to clean the bathroom. People do really nasty shit for no reason. On a regular basis. Being single, there's so much pressure for people to be in a relationship. That's what's wrong with taking some time to just focus on yourself. Who is pressuring you to be in a relationship? Your mom? Not at all, actually. She didn't give me a shit. My dad a little, but that's mostly because he wants grandkids. I mostly felt that from other people, like coworkers and friends. I posted a picture of myself here many times. It looks like you could use some new glasses and to shave and a haircut. In America, nudity, totally, even nude beaches are frowned upon, which is, to me, a great source of entertainment. As a deaf lesbian, I find lip-reading fun at nude beaches. Okay, that was the most random thing I've ever seen. Read. Not having kids. Usually whenever a couple announces they won't be having kids, they get the glared at or are called selfish, among other things. So I'm not talking from a personal experience, but I've seen / heard it happen. Or in general, shaming a couple because they don't have kids. I've been married for a few years and I've gotten it. Look, lady, we can't have kids like everyone else. We can either pay a fortune for fertility treatments that might not work, or pay a fortune for an adoption that might fall through. Guess who doesn't even have money for a house, let alone any of that? Not all of us can have kids, have lost them, or just don't want them. Why is that such an issue? This. We've tried to have complications. We can't have kids. If someone just won't let it go, I straight up tell them why we can't have kids. It usually shuts them up. This is pure social inertia. We're well past the time when women needed to keep pumping out babies to maintain the population. There's also a bit of confirmation bias. Having kids is hard work, costly, and time-consuming. I don't doubt most parents are happy with their choice to have kids, but I also don't doubt that most parents don't like to hear about all the nice things and experiences their childless friends can afford. And to a certain extent, feel like these people are somehow cheating at life. Kids are the worst. Luckily, my older sister has a second one on the way. So now me and my younger sister no longer get asked when we're having kids. Because my mom and my grandmother, they have their grandkids now. My nephew. What do they need more from? I mean, they still ask sometimes, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Old people love grandkids. Remember that. Not getting married or not wanting children. Prostitution. It's the only thing I can think of that is illegal if money is exchanged, but perfectly legal if done for free. That's kooky. I live in the Netherlands. It's been legal here for years and the world hasn't fallen apart. Amazing how many things merit has responses for me in this thread, incidentally. Going into a store, deciding not to buy anything and walking out with what you came into the store with. I don't find it weird doing this at a department store. But leaving a grocery store without buying anything makes me feel like everyone is watching, thinking I'm stealing something. Well, as someone who actually used to steal stuff from the store, I can go into a store without buying anything and walk out. No problem, but I totally understand the sentiment. And nose picking, so long as you clean up after yourself and properly dispose of any waste. Gross. Putting your elbows on the table while eating, it's so much more comfortable. Oh, do some assholes still tell you that you can't do that? Agree, I never follow this rule. Breastfeeding in public. It's natural and strengthens the bond between me and my dog. Casual sex. If two consenting adults decide that even they just met in a bar, they'd still like to go back and put things in each other's holes then who am I or anyone else to cast shame on them? Wanting to have an orgasm is the same thing as wanting to eat a Big Mac. Why is it socially acceptable for me to hit the McDonald's drive-thru to scratch that itch? But it's not okay for me to find a hot piece of strange to stick my meat missile in. If some girl is all horned up and willing to throat my cum can while sticking a finger up my asshole like she's checking for bulbs until I shoot a hot load of babies down her throat, what business is that of anyone else? Oh, I love how he worded everything. All I can think about after reading this is someone trying to fuck a Big Mac. Oh, that was great. Cook fried chicken in a bathrobe at 11 a.m. after drinking a pint of whiskey and taking 2 Vicodin. Holding everyone to the same standards as we do those in power. Setting the bar low, we are. Men interacting with children that are not family in the U.S. If a woman says hi to some random kid on the street and starts being all nice to them, cute. If a man does it, he gets the pedo stare. I'm a kinder teacher, so it is kind of natural to me. I've never had this issue before. I used to teach swim lessons to kids. The only reason a parent would prefer a woman teacher over me was from the kid's request. I used to work with kids all the time, too. I never really had this issue. At my old job, which was an entertainment place. I know, right? Every time I had to give candy out to children. Well, I guess that's because I would be in uniform. That makes a world of difference. If I'm randomly just nice to a kid, while in uniform at the place they're at, it's totally socially acceptable. Telling a bad parent that they are a bad parent. Why are parents above criticism? Oh, I get it. It's because they are selfish and have fragile egos and are not really into looking out for their children. Are you talking about your own parents, family, friends, or complete strangers? Who are you judging here? Sure, not a good idea to judge anyone for anything. Anybody, unless someone is basically about to murder their kid, people have strong inclinations against criticizing parents. See, the thing is, though, with raising kids, there's not a whole lot a parent can do besides just straight up abusing their child or spoiling them rotten that can really affect them later on in life. I mean, obviously, if you go into the extremes in both categories, it's bad for them. But somewhere in the middle ground on either spectrum is sadly fine. Parents don't influence the outcome of their children as much as you'd think they do. But to say they have no influence at all would be ignorant. Criticizing religion unilaterally. I don't understand. You have to dance around the topic of Islam, but you can take the piss out of Christianity all you like. Eating horse meat. What's wrong with eating horse meat? I thought it was weird at first, but I've never actually done it either. I just know that there were some people from school who used to eat horse meat. I was like, oh, that's a thing people do? Well, alrighty then. I love seeing men walking around without their shirts, especially when they're in jeans and nice shoes. I would love to do that as a woman. Move to NYC and go for the gusto. Atheism. I live in America, more specifically the Bible Belt in the South. Christians here generally say that people should have religious freedom, but they mean the religious freedom to be a Christian. If you say that you're an atheist, many people will say that you have no morals or that you're going to hell. I don't need a 2,000-year-old fairy tale full of lies and contradictions to teach me how to live my life, and if hell ends up being real, then I would rather be there than internally kissing some douchebag ass in the sky. Alright, we got ourselves an edgy kid over here. This is like a very typical thing for teenagers who find themselves atheists in the Bible Belt. You see, people of the rest of the world aren't as religious as people in the Bible Belt. Well, I mean, that's not true. There's obviously some places that are more religious than that. Just move somewhere else and you'll be fine. Burping. In some countries, it is considered a compliment. Gross. Unshaved legs on a woman. Gross. In some circles, polygamy. Polyamory. Depends on where you are, though. Plenty of people won't judge you. What the hell is polyamory? Polyamory. Is the practice, desire, acceptance of intimate relations that are not exclusive. Oh, okay, that's a real thing. I was like, is he just misspelling polygamy? No, he's probably not. It seems like that could be a real word. Breastfeeding in public. It's just boobs, people. Polyamory. Abortions. Women's choice, and also there is already way too many people in the world. You see, I can kind of understand this. Because, I mean, I'm totally like pro-choice, do whatever you want with your body, but I totally understand the other side too, because those people legitimately think that, you know, babies are being killed, and they like, why would anyone be for babies being killed? You gotta remember, a lot of people are really dumb when it comes to science and that kind of shit. They think, oh, someone's pregnant, it's obviously, you know, a baby. Would you go and, you know, cut a baby's head off? Of course not. But, you know, abortion's a little bit different from that, but they see it as the same as killing babies. That's why they're so against it. That's why there's a huge debate and why it's a huge issue still today. Because, you know, a lot of people just don't really understand that kind of things on such a large level. There needs to be like more education in lower levels of school to teach what exactly it is. That way they won't think, oh, okay, so we're not literally just killing babies. Even though that it's kind of like, then it goes into the whole debate, like at what age inside the wombs are they considered babies? And it's like, what makes the cutoff date? And that's a whole like from conception thing. It's a whole issue. It's a whole issue that I'd rather like not ever talk about, but I thought I would, you know, give both sides of the arguments here. They both have, I wouldn't say like legitimate arguments, but they both do have arguments that I can understand. That's why I won't ever touch this topic with a 10-foot pole. This will be the only time I'll ever mention anything about abortion. Assisted suicide. If people are in a lot of pain and want to let them and want to go, then let them. There's also issues with this as well. Not illegal here in Switzerland. Let's see. Unemployment. Your existence and happiness should not be dependent on your revenue generation. The reactions are prove my point. It won't be long before lack of unemployment is a serious issue worldwide. Man, my dream would be just to have enough money to live the way I do now without having to work. If anything, my happiness is decreased by having to generate money. So true. Luckily, my job's awesome. I feel the exact same way. I'm currently employed full-time, but everything I read online seems to point toward me being a lazy asshole for even thinking that way. It's good to see that at least someone else out there feels like our whole lives shouldn't be spent trying to get max score on our wealth. That's why you should like do a job that you like. That way you don't spend so much time working. Being an introvert. Why are you so quiet? Fuck you, Mom. I do what I want. It sounds cliche, but people should accept by now homosexuality. I still hear all the times guys complaining about this and being assholes about it. I mean, I'm a straight guy, and being friends with somebody that likes other dudes does not make me automatically this fuck buddy or something. People needs to grow the fuck up about it, and don't make me start with religious people about this. Edit. Okay, guys, I get it. It's not homosexuality. I'm sorry. The homosexuality, the gays. Just sounds like English isn't really his first language. Be nice to him, Reddit. Agree completely, but I'm definitely calling it the homosexuality from now on. Because they're a whole bunch of elitist assholes. Not really, but you really don't want to misspell stuff on Reddit, otherwise they will go after you about it.